Hello and welcome to Nowhere. My name is Trish and I'm the creator behind Nowhere Novelties. I love taking design inspiration from other Tumbler makers, and a Tumbler maker on TikTok created a gorgeous wood grain kind of ombre into like a forest skyline. So today we're gonna recreate that. I think this one came out really cool and really beautiful. If you're ready, let's strap in and shoot for the stars. I'm starting with a 30-ounce curve from Maker Flow Crafts. It is base painted white, and I'm going in with this Tim Holtz alcohol ink in espresso. I'm using a really soft makeup brush from the Dollar Tree, and to start off the wood grain, I'm just going to do like lines of the alcohol ink and just go back and forth and get kind of like a base on the entire like top 2/3 of the cup. And once this like base brown is on there, then we'll start like deepening it up and kind of adding those knots. Wood grain really has a mind of its own. I have seen people do this with a makeup brush, a chip brush, a sponge. I have seen people use multiple different colors of alcohol inks. I do have about 4 different types of browns in terms of alcohol ink. They're all kind of different brands, but I like this espresso. It has like the deepest and truest wood tone finish. So that's kind of why I chose this. And I wanted to try using just one color of alcohol ink because I have noticed that in the past, when I'm doing my alcohol or doing my wood grains, that using multiple colors can kind of like muddy the color up. So at this point, I'm going in and kind of filling in any white that I see kind of shining through the alcohol ink, and also really concentrating on getting the like knot texture. Putting just a little bit of alcohol ink either on the top portion or closer to the bottom, and swiping in just one direction. That's how you get that knotted texture. You're gonna kind of push all of the alcohol ink into one spot, and that's how you get like the planks of wood and like a knot, like a real dark centralized spot that looks like a knot in the wood texture. I let this alcohol ink dry for a full 24 hours, and then I applied a single coat of epoxy. I wanted to make sure I had a barrier, knowing that I was going to spray paint over this. I didn't want to disrupt the alcohol inks in any way, so I did do a very thin coat of epoxy over the alcohol ink after 24 hours of dry time. And this is after I spray painted with just like a charcoal gray. I did kind of like wrap up the top portion of the cup. That's why I have a very jaggedy line. So I'm gonna soften that line. This is acetone on a magic eraser. And I started out kind of just like buffering the line a little bit back and forth. And then I actually turn the magic eraser like vertical and kind of mimic the stroke effect of the wood grain and kind of go vertically into the spray paint to give it a really organic kind of ombre effect. I didn't want to like free spray paint because spray paint gets everywhere. There's a lot of overspray. So that's kind of why I taped off the top portion, because I didn't want to have to, you know, clean up the entire top of the tumbler. Next, I'm going to be adding my Treeline. This is a really cool like holographic, I think it's a textured vinyl. It's like brushed aluminum kind of vinyl from Cricut. I liked it because it gives like Northern Lights kind of vibes. I have plenty of length in terms of like wrapping around the bottom portion of this cup, but because the cup tapers, I cut down into like individual sections, so it was much easier to apply. So I'm gonna apply each of these like tree line sections. There's 4 of them. I did overlap them just slightly, just to make sure I didn't have like a gap in between any 2 sections. You will notice that I'm applying it not to like the very bottom rim of the cup. I have it probably like 1/4 to 1/2 inch off of that bottom rim. And that is because I knew I was also going to spray paint the entire bottom of the cup with black. I was going to add like rolling hills. So I knew I didn't have to get the vinyl all the way to that bottom edge. So in order to create the rolling hills, I took like a nice thick piece of masking tape here. Got, I think it was like 10 inches in circumference around the cup. So I have 10 inches of tape, and I just like did a squiggle line with my Sharpie to create my rolling hills, and I cut it out with an X-Acto knife. And I ultimately took like the bottom like wider piece, flipped it upside down, and taped that over the vinyl so that I had like a template for the spray paint. I did put like cling wrap over the top portion, just again to avoid that overspray. And of course I spray painted with just plain Jane like matte black. This is what it looks like after it was spray painted. I did come right in while it was still wet and peeled off that masking tape, so I didn't you know, disturb any of the paint after it had dried. So peeled off the masking tape to reveal my rolling hills, and I did go like cover the entire bottom of the cup as well with the black. And now I am going to add my decal. I will have it linked in the description box because I'm kind of blanking on where this came from like I normally do. But I just took a little bit off of the one of the sides to get like an anchor point. I put it pretty close to the top here because I knew, again, the curvature of this cup can cause some issues with like laying decals. And then I just kind of hinge method applied this to my cup, and this was ready for final coats of epoxy. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I think this was a really pretty one. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye.